What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? So this is a new show, you guys. You guys were asking me if I was going to review the show. This is going to be, excuse me, the Families of the Mafia, season 1. I don't know if it's going to be another season. The way this is it's set up as like a it's set up documentary style. So 2 years we're following four mafia families, and these are all families that are sort of dealing with the aftermath of the whole mafia lifestyle. Now, I'm not gonna speculate and get into all of the ins and outs of the mafia or whatever, like as far as what still exists, what is still going on with the mafia and all that good stuff. But suffice to say, these are four families that it has been well documented that their families were a part of that world, 60s, 70s, 80s. And our main family are the Gravanos. You know, Karen Gravano has been very open. She's done a couple of reality TV shows, Mob Wives being probably one of the most famous ones that we know, or more popular ones that we know. And she's been really open about her situation with her dad and her family. We know she has a daughter named Corinna. And when she was on Mob Wives, she moved back to New York. She moved back to Staten Island. Knowing that she was going to be dealing with a lot of backlash, knowing that there was still a lot of people there who didn't care for her family, care for her dad because of what he did as far as testifying against the Gambinos. When Mob Wives came out, Corinne was young. And I remember when she brought her out to New York from Arizona. Her family had relocated to Arizona because her dad actually went into the witness protection program. So if he did go to jail the first time, he served very minimal time. But then they ended up getting into some situation. They ended up getting into drugs. And all of them ended up going to jail. Her brother, and her dad. Her dad is just recently getting out of jail. Sammy the Bull is just getting out of jail. And so Karen's concern is that her daughter is getting caught up in the wrong crowd. Now, there was a show on MTV. I don't remember the name of it, but basically it was the kids of the mafia. Corinne was on it. Corinne. Is that her name? Corinna or Corinne? Anyway, she was on there with a bunch of her friends. Now, I see that some of the same people from that show are on this show. And I'm also seeing some of the same sort of footage. So I'm wondering because I don't know if I deleted it from my DVR, or if, I'm sorry y'all, I can't, that light is just, I'm trying not to, I don't know if I deleted it from my DVR or if MTV stopped showing the show, because after like episode 3 or 4 I never saw it again. And I said I wasn't going to really review it anymore because I felt like I was sort of older than what the show is like. I mean, these were all like teenagers, and some of the stuff that they were dealing with, I was just like, child. But I was going to still watch it, and I don't remember it popping up on my DVR anymore, so I don't know whatever happened with the show. But I know that some of the people that we're dealing with are some of the same kids, but now we're meeting more of their family and getting more of their background. So the next family, so we'll get back to them. So the next family we're dealing with, we have the O'Tooles. Now, the O'Tooles were running with the Irish Mafia. And again, well documented that the grandfather of this family, very well documented that he ran with, some gangsters. And his son went into the lifestyle as well. He was a criminal, been to jail a million times. He said himself that he can't even count how many times he's been in handcuffs. He's like, he's embarrassed to even admit how many times he's been in handcuffs. He said he's been stabbed 14 times, left for dead out in the street. So he definitely has lived a very colorful life. Now, he has some children. Him and his wife, they'd known each other since high school and all that. She eventually divorced him because, he couldn't get his shit together. And we met the set of twins. We met them on the other show that I was just telling you guys about. Now, the twins are like, her mother said, the angel and the devil, the good and the bad. Now, the girl is like the wild child, always fighting. On the show, she would have some charges pending, some very serious charges pending. It looks like that situation has sort of been resolved, but she's on probation, and she's like, I can't even breathe wrong on another person. If they decide to call the police, I'm going to jail. So it sounds like she's on a serious probation. Taylor and Joe are the twins' names. Now, the mother is trying to bring the family together. She went to go meet with the dad, and it's like, look, your kids need you. You basically weren't there. You left us hanging. You were sort of an absentee dad. And his thing is, yeah, I know I wasn't shit as a dad. What you want me to do about it? And she's like, I want you to come around. I want you to try to make it up to your kids. I want you to try to be a part of their family. Like, you know, you left me hanging. I've been doing all of this work myself, so I need you to do it. So she's going to set up a family dinner. She's not going to tell the kids that he's coming, but he's setting up a family dinner or whatever. All right. So our next family are the Roaches. And again, we met the son on the other show, and he actually had some very serious charges pending. He had gotten involved in this big brawl at a party, and they were holding him with attempted murder charges because somebody ended up getting stabbed. And I think they had him on tape that they knew he was a part of the fight. And so basically anybody that they could identify from the video of who was part of the fight, all of them got charged as like attempted murder to this situation. Now what we found out is that he did end up getting probation. He didn't go to jail because he was being charged as an adult. So he didn't go to jail. The judge sort of gave him a second chance, but he's living with his aunt and uncle. And on the show, we knew that he ended up living with his aunt and uncle because his dad was in jail. I never really found out what the situation with the mother was. So what we found out is that the mom, who was also running the streets, selling drugs and all of that, she ended up going to jail. And she went to jail, I want to say she said he was 5 years old when she went to jail. And so she, gave him to the dad to raise while she was in jail. Well, then the dad ended up going to jail. And so what we find out is he was actually living by himself for a little while until the aunt and uncle figured out, wait a minute, he's not being supervised right now. Like, what the hell is going on? He ended up living with the aunt and uncle. So that makes me kind of question, well, how long were you in jail that you went to jail when he was 5? And when the daddy went to jail, he was old enough to take care of himself until people figured it out. Were you out of jail and didn't come get him? Or were you still in jail? Don't know. I didn't quite catch that. But she is sort of like, I want you to come and live. She's in Brooklyn now. She's like, we need to get you off of Staten Island. As long as you're on Staten Island, it's going to be trouble. I need you to come move with me, or at least move to Brooklyn and get you out of trouble. The aunt and uncle are like, no, we love having you here. You don't need, like it's not Staten Island, it's your mindset. Like, you can move anywhere in the world, but if you still have the mindset, a trouble type mindset, you're going to get in trouble no matter where you are. So it's not so much moving to Staten Island. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I feel like there's some things that aren't being said with this family dynamic. There was a situation where the mother and the auntie had like a little sit down, and the auntie was very honest with the mom. And to the mom's credit, she ain't get rowdy with the aunt, but I could definitely tell that there was some tension there. I think that the mom appreciates what the aunt and uncle did, but I also think there's a level of animosity, jealousy, guilt that the mother may be feeling. So we're gonna see how that dynamic plays out. Chris is the young boy's name. Then we have the Augustins. Augustinos. Why did I write down Augustins? I think it's the Augustinos. Again, we met the daughter. Her dad has been like a no-show. Now, what Karen, it's so funny because Karen is narrating, right? So when they got to the Rocha family, she said they allegedly were selling drugs, and the mama gonna come on there and be like, yeah, I was a drug dealer. I sold drugs. I was like, now Karen is trying to give you that allegedly out, and you were just like, yup, it was me, honey. I was selling drugs. But then on the flip side of that, it's kind of like, well, you went to jail for it. You were convicted of it. So I guess there ain't no need to really try to deny it at this point. So we met her. Now we know that she's a college student. She called herself an intellectual thought. She's actually quite hilarious. But they were not, their family was not actually directly connected to the mob, but they living in the neighborhood, having friends whose families were connected, like they were in the mix. They were in the mix of it. Okay. So what we find out is Karen is still living in New York. Her mom wants her to move back to Arizona. But she's still living in New York, and she's actually opened up a restaurant. It's a mob-themed restaurant, like a pizzeria joint. They have a sit-down, but they also have a delivery service. And Karen's thing is, growing up, when I was younger, I would have never done this. I would have never opened up an establishment sort of highlighting the mafia. She said, because I always pretended like it didn't exist. I didn't acknowledge it. I acted like it didn't exist. And so she said, this is something a little different, that I'm sort of embracing that whole mafioso, not makra. That is not the word I was looking for. Mantra is the word I was looking for. Okay. But she is really, really concerned about Corinne. She said Corinne was an honor student. She just knew Corinne was going to be going away to a university and doing college stuff, going to pep rallies and all of that. And Corinne is in school, but it looks like she might be in like community college or something like that. No disrespect to community college, but that's not the vision Karen had for her daughter. And Corinne is like, well, I'm in school. Isn't that good enough? But see, Corinne done fell in love. And the reason why Corinne is still hanging around Staten Island is because of that boyfriend. And so, of course, because of that, Karen is sort of giving the boyfriend the side eye, like, And, I think I would venture to guess that 80 to 90% of parents in America have had to deal with their daughter and or son falling in love in high school and altering plans around that puppy love, thinking that it's going to last forever. And like I know, most of them don't. Some do. There are stories, but most don't. Let's be honest with ourselves and accept that most don't. And so Karen, knowing that, and Karen was having a conversation with Corinne, and she was like, look, everything my father tried to tell me and warn me about, I did, and he was right about everything. She said, he's out of jail now, and I think we need to take a trip to Arizona to go talk to Poppy. And she was like, sure. Corinne was like, okay, sure. But Corinne's thing is, I don't want to move to Arizona. I'm good. Like, I don't understand why y'all have a problem with my life and the way my life is rolling. I'm good. Y'all need to be good so we all can be good. So they end up going to Arizona. Now okay. I'm going to just go on and say what y'all thinking. The people that actually watch this show, I'm going to just go on and say what y'all thinking. Did y'all see that estate? Not a house. Not a home. Did y'all see that estate that Sammy the Bull is living in? It's an estate. Now, I don't know if it's just a very upscale apartment complex. I don't know if they just rented that place for the purposes of filming. I have no idea. But what I do know is that was an estate. And the man just got out of jail for the last 18 years. I don't even need to say it, do I? Y'all know. Y'all thinking what I'm thinking. We don't need to say it out loud. We don't need to. So, and he ends up talking to Corinne, and he's saying what Granddaddy's supposed to say. Don't do what I did. Don't make the mistakes I made. No matter what, I always have your back. And Karen is bringing up the whole her name and people being ridiculed because of her name and people giving Corinne a hard time, and she's worried about people giving Corinne a hard time because of the name and this, that, and the other. Now, I don't walk a mile in their shoes, and I don't know what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. But let me just be honest and ask y'all, and I know y'all gonna tell me in the chat, because the people who are gonna watch this review are people who kind of know a little something. Y'all tell me in the chat, is it really that serious still? Like, Karen done been back in Staten Island for a good 10 years now. If they ain't beat her up and, do other things by now, are we good? Like, is Corinne really dealing with that? Now, what I did peep, though, I don't think they're so much worried about what's currently going on as much as they're worried about what might happen, because it sounds like Sammy the Bull is revving up to tell some stuff That's what I think they really worried about, because he said that there is more to this story, and he has been quiet long enough, and he let people think what they wanted to think, but he knew the truth. And yeah, he did turn state's evidence, but they sort of forced his hand because they was trying to do him dirty, and it was like, I'm gonna do you before you do me type situation. Now I don't know the truth, and I ain't trying to rehash nothing, and I damn sure don't want to get on nobody's radar, but that's what it sounds like to me. Y'all tell me what y'all think about in them comments, what y'all think it really is. Anyway, last but not least, I think because I was kind of all over the place with this review, but last but not least, I think what ended up happening with the O'Toole family, where mama got the kids together and daddy was supposed to show up and daddy ain't come, and she was like, I'm so glad I did not tell them that you were supposed to come, because you would have disappointed them again. They don't have no love for their dad. Like, there's truly no love lost for the dad. But the son, Joe, did end up meeting up with the dad for lunch, and the dad is, I feel like okay, I ain't go to nobody's school for therapy, but let me put my therapist hat on for a second. I feel like the dad is sort of dealing with some, I don't want to use the word depression, but dealing with some issues. And, you get to a point in your life where you self-reflect. And I think he's at a point in his life where he realizes that he sort of screwed up a lot. And I don't think he knows how to make it better, because he knows his kids aren't really feeling him like that. And he knows he made some bad decisions in his life. And I'm thinking that he's not really sure how to fix it. How do I fix this? How do I bring this back around? That's my opinion. I don't know. But the mom is like, look, let's try to set something else up, because I really think that it's time for you to sort of, get back in your kids' lives, like be a part of their lives again. So anyway, y'all, that was the first episode. I know it's late, but I'm going to try to get the rest of them out, because I think we're only on week 2, but they have 3 episodes up already. So anyway, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.